Hi everyone! Before I start this video, I wanted to take 60 seconds to tell you what has been going on with my life. So the first thing is I am a store manager of a bookstore, so a lot of my time and energy goes into managing the bookstore. So that's where my focus has been as of late. I have not made a video in over 3 months. The second thing is I was almost forced to move to another state, but now everything is stable and I am still in my apartment. And the last thing is I got a brand new computer. My other computer would make a whirring sound. You couldn't hear me. I had to come up close to the screen, but now I have this brand new computer. Everything is new. It has my creative suite on it, so I am really enjoying myself, and I'm so grateful for everything that is happening in my life. So now on to the book review. The book we will be reviewing today, or I will be reviewing today, is Risqué Beauty Secrets of History's Most Notorious Courtesans, and it is by Daniela Turudic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. She didn't have a bio in the book, so I am about to read to you her bio on Google. It says Daniela Turudic is an avid researcher of historical trends, styles, and fads, and the author of the Vintage Living series, which has been relied upon as source books by film and television designers, academics and historians, and professionals and novices alike. She lives in Long Beach, California. So the reason I gravitated towards this book is not because I want to be a courtesan. I'm actually obsessed with natural beauty, natural skincare, and I like to collect lots of books about just natural skincare and how to do it. And this was the only book that I could find that had specific beauty secrets by specific women. I have seen beauty secret books, but it never, I can't even remember, linked it to a particular person. What I like about this book is that it lists women throughout time. So one of the women in this book is from the 1400s. Others are from the turn of the century, like 1835 to 1886, 1965. They're from all different parts of the world, and each of them has their own little characteristics. The breakdown of the book goes, the author gives their birth and death, their little bio, where they were at the time, how they became courtesans, and it lists some of their beauty recipes. And some of them, if they could find the quotes, they give quotes that they said. So the only thing I didn't like about this book is there wasn't enough diversity. Practically all the women in this book were white women, and I know there were courtesans all over the world. And almost every single country, there's some type of courtesan with some type of beauty secret, but they weren't mentioned. Like, I didn't even see any, Indian courtesans. I didn't see any, African courtesans. I just saw mostly white courtesans. And that's okay, but I hope there's a sequel where there's more variety. So, let me see. What was interesting about this book is that most of the women became courtesans not because they wanted to, not because they were like, oh, I want to grow up and be in a harem or something like that. No, it was, some of them were victims of rape. Others did not want to live the type of lifestyle other women in their time period were living. They didn't want to not have any freedom. They didn't want to not have lack of money. They didn't want to be poor or rely on a man as their support system. So they basically broke away from the societal mold, and some people admired them for it and others just criticized them for it. But it's the same as today. You're either admired for being risque or you're criticized for being risque. You see that with celebrities all the time. So what I have done with this book is I have used some of their little beauty secrets on myself to see if they would work. So one person, just this girl, Agnes Sorel, I think that's an S, or Sorel, 1421 to 1450. Framento, I don't know any French, but whatever. She was from France, okay? So she was considered the first official royal mistress in France. And it's strange, she died at 28 years old. So it said she was extraordinarily beautiful. She had golden hair and light blue eyes, which was considered beautiful at that time, in that time period. She often wore her hair in ringlets and curls and tied with a bow at the nape of the neck. So one thing that she did was she used orris root powder. Orris root is basically ground up iris roots. I didn't know that I would be able to find orris in my town, but I did. I found it at the health store. And when I saw it, it was just this light powder. When I put it on my body, it had the sweetest smell. It's like, wow, this smells really amazing. Like, I put it on my neck, I put it on my hands, and the scent just lasted for hours and hours. It was amazing. It says it is thought that she used powder iris roots as body scent. The powder was used as an aphrodisiac. It also reduces the appearance of wrinkles by hydrating and increasing skin elasticity. It can be procured today and can be lightly dusted on the body after a bath. So I did all these experiments with this one powder. I put it in my bath, and I put it on my feet after my bath, and it really worked. I put it on my clothes, and people, they could smell it, but they couldn't. It's not an overpowering smell. It was a very light smell. So I was like, yeah, that one's a keeper. There was another woman. Her name was Neon de Lanclos. Please don't scream at me for pronouncing these people's names wrong. So she was in France, and it says that she was a very famous courtesan. Okay. I've read about this woman in another book, and apparently she had a cream or something that she used that made her look very, very young. So even when she was in her 70s, 80s, she still looked very youthful, and men would just swoon over her. So she gave this concoction to her friend, who is a man, and he used it, and he looked young, and all of these girls were swooning over him. And this was an older man, like late 60s, early 70s. So what was funny about this is that this concoction consisted of, let me see, whale spermaceti, which I think is like from the whale's head, lard, and some other things. You can get most of the ingredients from the concoction, but you can't get it from a whale. You cannot get the whale spermaceti because, it's illegal to whale and kill whales and stuff like that. A lot of the advice from this book was just basic hygiene. I mean, if you took a bath, that was the first step towards getting a dude, okay? They did things differently than other women. If other women were just dedicated to be homemakers and be obedient, they went in the opposite direction, and men loved that. They loved the whole fantasy of these women. They loved the allure of these women, and that's why the men kept coming and coming and coming to come see them and provide for them, because they were giving them excitement that they probably weren't getting at home, because the society wasn't letting women be creative. It was basically saying, oh, well, you have to be plain. I mean, plain is good, But some women, want to throw some color in their life. They want to put on lipstick. They want to cut their hair and do some type of wild style and be Vogue. But at that time period, even now, a lot of people, they'll gravitate towards they say they want the traditional. They say they want like a traditional look, like, oh, I want the long hair, I want this, blah, blah, blah. I don't want a woman that does this. And they'll secretly want some type of edgy woman. I mean, I've just seen it with a couple of dudes. That's my personal observation. Another thing that I found interesting was they had, what a lot of these courtesans had in common was basic exercise. Like, some of them would take walks in the morning. Others would, like, horseback ride. They would build up a sweat. I personally don't know the whole history of exercise from the top of my head, but I feel like it wasn't, in some societies, it wasn't implemented. It wasn't promoted to go outside in the sun and exercise and do work all of your muscles, especially if you were a woman. I guess women were supposed to be gentle and stuff like that, fragile, and these women were building up their bodies. I know I came across a book at the library when I used to work there, and it was about celebrities' beauty secrets, and it had Marilyn Monroe doing yoga. I didn't know Marilyn Monroe did yoga. I really did not know that, but it was something different. It was something, I guess, risque, avant-garde. A lot of people in the United States that I know of, or that I have read about, weren't doing this form of exercise or this form of lifestyle during that time period until it became more popularized. Some of the stories in this book were very, very sad. Very sad. Cora Pearl, she was in England. The reason she became a courtesan, it says that when she was 15 years old, she was making her way home and was approached by a 40-year-old man. He took her to a bar, filled her full of alcohol. When she woke up, she realized her virginity had been taken. I'm just like, this is so sad. That's why I personally am not hard or criticize women that I've seen that are, I guess you say, promiscuous. Some say sexually liberated, but others just say promiscuous or a hoe. I don't call them names. You don't know what happened in this woman's life. Most of the women that I've seen with that type of lifestyle, something happened during their childhood. They were either molested, or they had some type of issues with the men in their lives, or they were victims of rape. And the sexual promiscuity is their way of dealing with their pain. And the same with, men. The same can be said for some men. They will do the same thing, but people just see it as like, oh, he's just being a player. But he could have been a victim of sexual assault. He could have been a victim of molestation, or people not allowing him to have healthy masculinity. It's just very crazy. So this book, I've used some of the recipes in here. I have not used pearl powder yet, but I did do what Lily Langtry said in this book. She was talking about, this is how you walk. Your chest is up, blah, 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 blah. Walk like this. I was like, okay, I'll do that. Another thing that she said that I thought was interesting was, I avoid sauces, made dishes, and sweets, and insist upon simple dishes and not too much at regular hours. That quote caught my eye the first time I read it. It reminded me of a book that I had read about Pocahontas. The author in the book, and I haven't read that many books on Pocahontas, but it said that when she visited King James, she liked the simple dishes. She didn't like all of these sauces and everything. I feel if you have a lot of sauces and sweet fragrant, like over excessive amount of flavor and sauces and sweets in your diet, it's difficult for your body to process it. When you just have simple dishes, it passes through the body easier. But if you have all of these heavy, sluggish meals, it takes longer to get through your body. You might break out into some pimples. I just thought it's just basic advice. But I don't feel people usually turn to the natural way anymore, or often. If they are, they're categorized in some type of group, like, oh, I'm a hippie vegan, or oh, I'm a cosmetologist. It's just not basic beauty treatments. People don't take their physical appearance seriously. They usually might not use a natural method that they can prepare at home to help with their looks or their hair or their skin or their body in general. Some will turn to surgery. Some are trying to outdo the others. They're trying to outdo their Facebook friends. They're trying to outdo all these little Instagram models. But they haven't delved into their natural beauty. Some of the advice in this book is like, go out in nature. Take a brief walk. Think beautiful thoughts. If you think beautiful thoughts, you will have a beautiful soul. You'll have a beautiful appearance. It's just as simple as that. So I recommend this book. I have to return it to the library because I have had it for a year. I have checked this book out literally 7 times. I just need to buy it, but I'm too scared to return it to the library. So that is all I have to say for now. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye bye.